kind of hard to answer that question, but as far as for me, I think that, I guess just have a good pay, and that way I wouldn't have to find other ways that, for example, me going to school for a better job, better pay. If I was to get paid better, I think that I would be more comfortable coming home to my kids and resting more and having the time to, okay, instead of going to school, don't get me wrong, school is good. And I think that it's something that everyone should have, because, nowadays, everything requires degrees for a better job and everything. But if I was to have a better pay, I would think I would be more comfortable coming home to my kids and just being more comfortable saying, okay, at the end of those 80 hours, I'm gonna have enough to be there with my kids and take them out to wherever they want to and stuff like that.
Erica, tell us about your housing situation.
My housing situation, before I was staying, where I'm staying now, it's at my mother-in-law's house. And before that, I was staying with my mom. Something I was proud of, but I was kind of in a way helping her out too. I moved out. I was with the father of my kids. We're not really quite on the same page now. So I'm at that point where I said, you know what? If I'm not happy, I don't take my kids back. So thanks to AbleWorks, I get to have my own place for the first time. It's a blessing. And
So you have your own home now?
now, yeah.
And tell us about that. What is?
Well, I'm moving in the beginning of February.
Oh, so you haven't.
So this is all, I'm already soaking everything in, and it's, everything's new to me. So I am excited for that. I think everything's coming my way for the better.
So your husband and the father of your children are not involved in the family, or he is?
He is in a way where I don't like to rely on him. So he's my last resource. So if at the end I need money, or if I need that child care where I can't find it nowhere else, I call him and I tell him, hey, you know what? Now is, you need to take care of the kids.
So you're not getting child support,
No.
and you're not divorced.
Well, we were never married.
But does he have a job where he makes an income?
He works he buys cars, fixes them, and sells them. So he's kind of like self-employed. That's what he does.
He has his own business, or he does it at his garage, or?
He shares a space with somebody else. So they have their own thing kind of going on. It's not really his business, but he works it.
Blanca?
Yeah. You said, how do you thrive despite everything that's going on, right? Well, I was a young mom at a really early age. I was 17-year-old when I had my daughter, and I actually went through a program that's called New Creations, and it was a program that they provided stability, housing stability, in a safe place for me and my daughter. I was there for 2 years, and I basically transitioned after I was like 20 or 21 years old. They invested so much in me. They helped me with counseling. They helped me just with my savings. So in order for me to really be able to transition and for the process to be smooth, they showed me a lot. They provided me with parenting skills, a mentor, and I mean, it was great. I got so much support from that, and then soon after I went to school for medical assistant, and I got hired through AbleWorks because of a network because of the director at New Creations. Me and her have a good relationship, and she basically helped me get into AbleWorks. And now I'm able to actually do that for my community. I'm able to work with single moms from East Palo Alto, East Menlo Park, and Oakland, like Erica. And how do you thrive when you have a community and when you have people that are helping you and that are investing so much time in you, and they're just there to support you. Sometimes when your family's not there to support you, that's how you thrive, because you're encouraged and because you're empowered through everything that they do for you. And then naturally, you want to do the same thing for your community because it was a blessing for you. And I'm still learning how am I going to thrive. I mean, I'm going to go back to college. I mean, I'm only 27 years old, so there's a lot for me still out there. But I love what I do. And seeing Erica be able to get a housing, stable housing, a place that she's going to be able to live and afford, a place for her kids. Seeing her kids, we had an event last week. Where it was a grand opening of the Sequoia housing where she's going to live. Her kids was just so happy, you know, to look at the place, to look at everything the place is furnished. I mean, that really encourages you to just keep moving forward. You know, like you were saying, sometimes you feel like you're stuck. But you have so many people that believe in you, and we're here because there is a purpose, you know. And another girl that's in the cohort just left, but we also have Joanna here that, you know, they just come and support because they love the group, because they find support, they find skills, they're struggling, but they're moving forward because there's accountability with the 15 women there. Whenever someone needs help, another person's there to help them do whatever it is, whether it is to go apply for Medi-Cal, whether it is to clean their house, whatever. There's that accountability. So we're building community and we're growing, and I'm looking forward to be I'm currently working with 15 women now, but by the end of 2014 I'll be working with 50 women, and I already have a bunch of women that are signed up for the next cohort. And the reason why they're signing up is because they see that we're being exposed to different norms, norms that we don't have in our community, such as 5K runs, such as, going to a city council meeting, things like that. You just learn and you grow, and it's all because of it's all because of the community that you're with. It's all based on the people that you know. So I'm really excited, and I'm definitely still I'm thinking of going back to school, getting my PhD, because I feel like nothing's impossible other than death. Right. So if
Well, that was very inspiring, Waka. So if any of us want to give a housewarming present to Erica, it's furnished, so what does she need in addition to it being furnished?
Well, we had a couple of little cards that we spread out to some of the people that were at our event last week, and I don't have it with me, of course, but if you want to help out, you can reach us at AbleWorks. I can give you my business card, and we have a bunch of items that need to still be purchased for Erica. And another, here we go.
I'm going shopping today to get my items.
Okay.
Thank you. Basically, those are it. So little things that cost maybe like $4.99, $5.99, but that are going to make a huge difference for a woman. So Erica's one of them, and then we're also housing another woman that has 2 daughters, a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old, and the daughters are thrilled. I mean, it's life-changing for them. The way that they live now and the way that they're going to live once they move in February 1st, it's crazy. I mean, it's a huge blessing. It really is.
So gift cards would be beneficial, like
Yes.
gift cards to IKEA, since it's in the neighborhood, would be
That would
helpful?
be perfect. That would
All
be
right.
perfect.
So if any of you would like to support Erica as she moves into her first home with her children, there's a great opportunity to do so. All right, let's have questions from the audience. You can have questions of the panelists, or if this is also a town hall. So if you have certain thoughts that you want to convey to me so that Congress can take action, much like we did here in California when we identified child support as a serious issue, please come forward.
Should I
My name is Daniela. I'm from Redwood City, and I'm currently a student at Santa Clara University studying for my MFT. I've heard education come up a lot in the panel. I did want to kind of demythologize that a bit. I have 2 BAs as well, and I'm 1 class short of a 3rd BA, and I work an $11 an hour job. So if you start off, I would say struggling socioeconomically, even education, though it will be easier for me to shift in the future, it is still a struggle, and I wanted to put that forward to really lay out the reality of, I guess, the economic and the political landscape and opportunities for women. But my question was for you, Jackie. I did notice that there were a lot of yearnings for opportunities that are present in cities such as Palo Alto, and those that have more monetary backing for, I guess, their schooling, their agencies. And my question was, since we are in the Silicon Valley and there is a stark socioeconomic divide where we have Apple or we have Oracle, all these wealthy corporations, but we also have the jungle in San Jose, which is the largest homeless encampment. So my question is, I'm going to tie it back to San Mateo County, is I'm wondering what is being done legislatively or infrastructurally to help working women in Redwood City, East Palo Alto, South San Francisco, Daly City, and those cities. I did go to Woodside High School, so the contrast is very real for me when I have a classmate who says, my room I grew up in is as big as her bathroom. And so I noticed that these things are happening, but I'm wondering if there are things in regards to public transportation or healthcare, or if there's anything in the works to close this gap.
What a powerful comment. Your name is?
Danielle.
Daniela. Put your hands together. The issue of income inequality is what Daniela was talking about. It's the issue that I feel so passionately about that we have to fix. Robert Reich, who was the labor secretary under Bill Clinton, just published a video, and I encourage you to watch it. It's about an hour and a half. It's called Inequality for All, and you can download it. One of the points he makes is that of those that are born in poverty, 45% of them will never get out of poverty. And while we all want to have that college education and we want to make sure that our kids have that opportunity, Daniela's point is well taken. The unemployment rate among college graduates 18 to 28 years old is the highest it has ever been while we've recorded it. And that's unacceptable. Now, she's also right that we live in an extraordinary bubble. We have, the biggest companies on the planet in our neighborhoods. And if we're struggling, East Palo Alto has a 14% unemployment rate. So it's incumbent on me, it's incumbent on every elected official in this community to recognize we have got to make efforts to change that. And so systematically this year, we're going to go about doing just that. So Danielle, it's you in terms of what are we doing in terms of healthcare? The Affordable Care Act. Have you signed up?
Have I?
Yes.
I get healthcare through my school right now.
Okay. So you don't have to sign up, or are you just declining to sign? Because does the healthcare you're getting through Santa Clara cover everything?
Don't believe so.
Okay, you have until March 31st. You might want to see if you shouldn't just sign up, because I'm sure you would not be paying anything for the health care, and it would be a way of creating that extra safety net for you. You also mentioned employment. What are we doing to try and encourage employment for young graduates? That is a tough issue right now. And we aren't doing enough. And part of what this effort is going to be is to see what we can do to create some kind of a job bank for young people and see how we can start to place them. And if you have any other ideas, we'd be happy to hear them. Other comments? Yes, come on.
I have a loud voice, so I think you can all hear me. So on what
Actually, come up.
Oh,
because you probably-
okay.
We're videotaping.
Oh, okay. Good to be on camera. So
Your name is? Elizabeth. My name's Elizabeth. And my question is for the panel. You guys talked a lot about your experiences, and I want to hear more about how you either got the job that you're currently at, or how, if you don't have a job, what are you doing right now to look for jobs and find the next opportunity for yourself? Because you guys all have incredible assets, and I'm just curious to know how you ended up where you are and how you're leveraging those right now.
Okay, great. Thanks, Elizabeth.
My job is more networking, I guess you could say, and I've been with AbleWorks for about 4 years now, and I'm also...
How'd you get the job?
I got the job through Katie, which was the director from New Christian School Ministry, who was really good friends with John, and I went to an interview and they hired me. And I'm also doing some notary work on the side because, you know, everything's so expensive that you need to kind of get creative with money, how you get money. So I have that on the side as well, just to be able to afford my living situation and be able to afford to pay certain things for my kids, such as healthcare.
The way I got my job now is through a friend. Actually, she was my roommate. And before that, this job, I used to work at Stanford at the bookstore, and I actually used to get paid $8.88. So, and I used to be her roommate. So she helped me out a lot, and she still does. And I thank her for that.
My story has an overlap. My father was a third-year apprentice in the carpentry when he died on the job. And in the eyes of an 8-year-old, the union helping out my mother to the extreme really made a depression on me. And when I graduated high school and I went to college for Berkeley, did a couple of years fighting fires. I ranked corporal in a security company, and I was out just wandering around trying to figure out what I wanted to do and not pick a boyfriend from the neighborhood. I decided to go into the carpenters union and apply for a position. And back then, carpenters wasn't really keen on having women in their ranks. And so I turned around and walked across the street to the sheet metal department. And it was the biggest highlight in my life, because not only did they take me in with open arms, but they understood the fact of what union was supposed to have been, and really kind of couldn't understand why the carpenters didn't take me because of my father. But I looked at the union for, it's very successful, and I'm a union activist. I support my union. I belong to a tradeswomen corporation. I mentor, I try to turn it around, and I recruit women, and even though we don't have a lot of turnouts, we still go out there and try to bring you in. And as a sheep runner worker, I broke my back about 10 years ago, and my mother took me in, and I didn't mind living with my mother. I lived with my mother until the day she died, because I ended up being her caretaker. So she took care of me when I broke my back, and then I took care of her in her last days. And I rent a room with complete strangers because I don't like to impose on my children. And so this is a broad new aspect for me, because being a journeyman in the trade, I always thought of it as no company is your home, and technically no city is supposed to be your home, because we're supposed to go where the work is. And through the PLAs, through all the cities, we've got projects ranging from Monterey all the way up to the northern border, and we don't have people to fill it. So being a journeyman in my own status, I don't own a home because I need to be able to pick up my tools, get in my car, and go where the work is. And that is one of the main things that I've gotten out of my trade, is that we're not considered permanent. And I know women, and I belong to a couple on chat lines, that these women go all through the United States looking for work. And we've got some from the back east, down in the new plant, and all they do is bring their credentials, come on in, sign in the dispatch offices, and wait your turn. We don't require a college degree. I did some college, but basically it's the algebra that we're looking for. You really need to be able to think math, and your work would be a little bit more able to manage. In my work, I'm a fabricator. I fabricate fittings from a flat piece of metal into a 3D object that's functional. And I'm on the creative end of the trades. And so back to the question is that I found my way through a personal mishap, and then looking around at the economy and realizing that I didn't like what was being offered to me in my own neighborhood. And back then, because you talked about that 30 years ago, when I entered my trade, I came in under the affirmative action. And the doors were open 2 years before that, so there was only a few. I'm one of the few women who have all the years in it. There's only 2 other women ahead of me in 1 or 2 years. But we got the brunt of the picking on, because a lot of men said, oh, you're only here because of your sex. Oh, you're here because of affirmative action. You're here because we have to have you here. So the first women that got into the trade, we had to pave the way for all the rest of you. And by doing that, we had to be stubborn. We had to be more hard-headed than the men. Like I said, we had to put our gender away so that we could create something for the ones coming into the trade. And that's where we stand right now. And I see you looking at somebody.
I want Tamara.
Okay, here we go.
Well, I just finished my training at Job Train in office skills, and
How long was that?
I started at the beginning of November. I just finished. That one was self-paced, but they just switched it to the Cañada semesters at the beginning of January, and so I'm looking for work. I'm actually interested in human services. I was at Cañada before taking classes for human services, but I could never finish because I had to go out and look for work, and I just, whatever I could find. Because like I said, I was at home mostly with my kids, but I've worked a little in retail. I actually got my real estate license 2006. It expired already. I tried that for a while, but that was the worst time, and we lost our house during that time, and yeah, So human services is really what I'm interested in, and that's I hope to find a job in human services. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes. A comment?
Yes.
Can you come and pass it? First of all, I want to thank the panel for being here. It is commendable of you to share your stories. But as women, I think we need to work together. We need to be mentors of each other. It took a woman who gave me an opportunity to get a job, and she encouraged me, and she supported me, and she showed me opportunities of how to advance. So as women, in these forums, it will be good to sit down and say, how did you make it to your next level? I'm willing to share my story, and I think if we all were able to share our stories and help you to get to that next level, it will help so often. Because a lot of times jobs are obtained by networking. It's who you know and knowing those opportunities. So how do we share the information? How do we come together and do those very things?
So Lisa, how did you get to the next level?
So for me, I'm a mother of 3. After my divorce, I moved back, and I hadn't really worked before because my husband didn't allow it. He didn't want me really to work, and it was a way of controlling. And I went to an employment agency, and they sent me out to a job, and it was supposed to be a one-day assignment. And when I went out as the receptionist, it was my first job, the HR manager called me back. And she called me back. Whenever she called me back, I went there. And that assignment led to a 5-year assignment. From there, it took another woman saying, you have the opportunity or the potential to do something else. There's another opportunity. So I'm good. And she was a recruiter. She recruited me from that company, and I went somewhere else. And it was another woman that then said, you could do something else. And they recruited me to the next place. So it was the women. I stand on the shoulders of so many women today. And it is my goal or my duty to allow you to stand on my shoulders and to be there for you. I do a lot of community service, and if there's anything I can do to help with AbleWorks or just come and talk and kind of share the information, for me, and then I have my daughter who's here, it was my goal my investment was to invest in her and to make sure that she was able to go to school so she didn't have the struggles that I had growing up. So we help one another. We're helpers of one another, and that's the way we have to look at it. Women helping women to advance.
So Catherine, we're going to have to wrap it up. If you have a comment or a statement or question.
Yeah, it's kind of a statement. I have a friend who ended up homeless because she had children, and she couldn't earn enough money to pay for someone to take care of her children. It was a wicked, evil cycle. And I thankfully was in a position where I could help her. And so she ended up being able to train to do an office job. And now she lives in San Jose, and she's found a great man, and it's all a good story. But it was a really bad cycle when she had a young child. And I really want to encourage you, it's so important to bring in the education at the younger age, not only because it educates a child, and I think education is the key to everything really, but also it frees up the mother to be able to get out and work more when they don't have a good family to support them. And I was raised by a single mom who was a school teacher. My dad didn't pay a penny of child support because he made it clear to my mom that he would bankrupt her in court if she tried. And back then we didn't have amazing people like you to make great laws to protect her. And I remember what it was like to have 2 pairs of trousers and one didn't fit. And, really struggled, but I never told Mom that because I knew she was doing her best. And I got involved with a group called My New Red Shoes. And for those of you that have children, I was going to let you know, what My New Red Shoes does is it actually provides you with a card so that you can go shopping for a new set of clothes, a new set of shoes in September. So you get to pick out your own clothes. It's not like, nobody likes to be just given stuff. And so there are organizations out there. That is, in my mind, a Band-Aid. But it's a good Band-Aid of self-respect for kids to have a good set of clothes and shoes when they start school in the new year. So I was going to let you know about that and encourage you, and if there's anything we can do to support setting up school for preschool, I would bend over backwards to help that because I think it's critical on so many different levels.
Great.
All right. I just want to say one quick thing about child support. In San Mateo County, we do have the Department of Child Support here. And if you have never been married to the father of your child, it doesn't matter. You can get child support. It's at 555 County Center in Redwood City. And there's a terrific team of attorneys. I'm an attorney, and every Wednesday is the contempt calendar. And as Jackie said earlier, people lose, mostly men, are losing their driver's licenses, and that it's very serious. The judges take it very seriously. And if typically it's men, if they're not paying the support, they will lose their driver's license. And that's how it is. And so they've got to figure out how to pay the support. They're as responsible for their children as everybody. So I wanted to let you know that anybody can go to the Department of Child Support Services and request help.
Actually, and that's a very good point, Kirsten. One of the other bills that I carried was creating the family law facilitators. And those are people that help you fill out the forms because you can't afford an attorney. You shouldn't have to afford an attorney. And this is a way of helping you go through the process without incurring additional costs. So that's good to know and good to share with other friends you may have. So this has been great. Let's hear it for our fabulous